For the past several months, there's been a lot of reports and a lot of back and forth between gamers and the mainstream media and really big gaming in general. All these massive studios that have been hiring out these consultancy companies to make sure that their games are woke enough. Places like Sweet Baby Inc., who the CEO Kim even was very upfront and said they want to take over the gaming industry. And that if a company is pushing back against including some woke things in the game, then you got to do anything you can to pressure them to hire companies like Sweet Baby Inc. Well, that brings us to a studio and a game that apparently refused to give in to a lot of the DEI nonsense, and that is Black Myth Wukong. We have a story right here from Niche Gamer. Rumor, Wukong devs reject $7 million extortion from DEI consultants. Now, Black Myth Wukong is a game that I feel like we first saw the first footage years ago, and finally, within the next couple months, I think in August, it's set for release. A lot of people very excited about the game, but there's been some attacks on it. We've seen some people in the media, specifically at IGN, relentlessly coming after this game, say there's a lot of misogyny and bigotry involved at the development company and blah, 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 this type of shit. When you start to hear things like this, and maybe it starts to make sense, because apparently they weren't going to give in to the demands of some of these consultancy companies. Take a look at this tweet. Chinese media, Black Myth Wukong refused to be extorted $7 million by Sweet Baby Inc. Now, I will push back on this a little bit because in the translation, it doesn't specifically say Sweet Baby. I think it just says consultancy companies, but a lot of people are trying to make this connection. So let's read through this translation from a Chinese media outlet. The reason why the team behind Black Myth Wukong has been subjected to persistent sexist attacks and slander since the first promotional video is because they've consistently refused political correctness guidance and rejected the extortionate guidance fees, millions of dollars demanded by these political correctness teams. Actually, such teams are quite common in Europe and America. They interfere with works like Assassin's Creed, Dying Light 2, and God of War by pushing for political correct female protagonists. These changes are a direct result of the interference and guidance of such teams. Game science teams, so the devs for Black Myth Wukong, refuse to communicate with these groups and reject their interference. Most importantly, they refuse to pay the exorbitant $7 million in guidance fees. So this is the direct reason they're being attacked and slandered. Some justifications are based on the team's lack of diversity or representation, which doesn't align with the political correctness standards. Typical example is an article by a major IGN writer criticizing Hogwarts Legacy and refusing to evaluate or promote it due to its alleged lack of political correctness. So a lot of people started looking into this, and they realized that, yes, you've seen a lot of attacks on this game from places like IGN. How Black Myth Wukong developers' history of sexism is complicating its journey to the West. Indie developer Game Science Global Fame is forcing it to confront its own sexism and that of the Chinese tech industry. Now, if you go back and we look at this tweet they sent out all the way in 2023 when this was written, oh, look, community note. The sexist quotes shown in the article are poorly translated. Accurate translations show the statements being vulgar, but definitely not sexist. IGN reported on these fallacious, unverified claims as though their fact is yellow journalism, which CNs were made to combat. And interestingly enough, one of the things that really made this go viral was an Asmongold video. On Asmongold's Clips channel, his editor decided that he was going to actually provide some context for us because as he was reading through the article, Asmongold said this is some of the most biggest bullshit we've ever seen. We interviewed women that stayed anonymous but are familiar with the gaming industry that told us how racist and sexist and bigoted they are. It is kind of a lot of bullshit. So Asmongold's editor decided to do a little bit of actual translation.
In my life.
Context. IGN published an article trying to smear the company and the devs behind Black Myth Wukong as some sexist freaks because of some of their employees' social media posts. The article cites one of their artists who basically did the still wood meme about this monster. The problem is that this game journalist, either by sheer incompetence or malice, translated these posts in the most uncharitable way possible. And this is nothing compared to the most egregious mistranslation after one of the game company founders posted this in 2020. Apologizing for the lackluster trailer of Black Myth Wukong just released. Now, how on earth do you get?
I want to expand my circle and hire more people.
get licked until I can't get an erection.
In reality, the actual translation completely changes the meaning of what he was saying.
Now, if we stop this and read this a little bit, right, got licked to the point of being unable to get an erection, this is essentially a phrase, right, that when translated directly might not make a lot of sense or might sound like that. But if you're someone who uses the Chinese language, this is what you actually get. A colloquial expression used humorously or sarcastically to describe a situation where excessive flattery has an overwhelming and paralyzing effect on someone. The use of metaphors can be found in informal speech or on social media. And the entire article was full of stuff like this. So it made a lot of people wonder, why exactly are so many people apparently going after Black Myth Wukong? What could the possible reason be? They remembered, like Sweet Baby Inc., essentially telling people that they should threaten to have these consultancy companies come in or they're going to do everything they can to smear you. Do you remember this? Word for word, everything is starting to make sense. Context: Black Myth Wukong devs refused to be extorted $7 million by Sweet Baby Inc. or by other consultancy companies. The aftermath of this is the IGN post.
If you're a creative working...
And this is the co-founder of Sweet Baby Inc., Kim Belair.
In AAA, which I did for many, many years. Put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
And you know what's going to happen if you don't give them what they want? They start leaking stuff. They start saying this. They start saying that. They start trying to do everything they can to force public pressure to have you bring in these DEI consultants. Well, things haven't exactly gone well for them. It's kind of backfired in a big way because after this backlash, we saw Black Myth Wukong spike to #1 on Steam's wish list right here. There was a lot of people excited about the game already. It's been building a lot of anticipation. But the idea that you have potentially companies like Sweet Baby Inc. or maybe them themselves trying to essentially extort or threaten, say you have to hire us so that your game's diverse and woke enough, it'll just cost you $7 million. Because they rejected that, it almost seems like you have a coordinated effort to attack them from people in the media. This is not the only article. There's like 4 or 5 articles from IGN over the past couple months, all repeating similar things. They're all allegations of the sexist nature of these devs, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, when you look at the real translation of things, it's not nearly as nefarious as it seems. A couple of people joking around here and there, like I said, the wood meme, the still wood meme. But this is complete and utter bullshit. They've been under attack by the woke media and by a lot of other people, powerful players apparently in the gaming space, all because they refuse to hire a company like Sweet Baby Inc. Absolute bullshit, but their rejection of these DEI companies probably going to make a lot more people interested in their product.